Alright, so what I meant by a little deep before is right here. If I push the hinge in all the way, you can see the screw holes are just a tad out of place. But if we back it up just a hair, we're right on the money. I couldn't be more pleased with the results here. This is just fantastic. This is so much easier than trying to do that by hand. Oh. So our little setup that we did by putting the parallel in here to butt up against the hinge, looks like it got us right on the spot there. And we're at 0 and 0. I did take off about 10 thousandths from how far we're going in, just, to be on the conservative side. And I learned that the height is way different because this piece of wood has been custom shaved on the back or the front, whatever, to give us our spacing of the door. So my calibration I have on that is of no use. I went and used this little T-square to make sure we're level with the table. I'm not going to put the jack in here on this thing because I don't think it needs it. We'll give it a test and see how it runs. But we're ready to go on number 2, and I need to correct this. That was 460, 4 inches and 60 thousandths was how much we moved over, but the final cut was 4.1 inches to give me the size of the hinge. So we're going to sneak up to 4.1 and double check that that's the same for this hinge. If you guys have noticed, I've got my hinges numbered just in case there's some variation. Well, we're 3/4 of the way through, and if you guys haven't noticed, we've been having a steady drip of oil coming out the bottom of the machine here, which is normal because this machine is oiled, and those bearings need to stay lubed. And it's perfectly fine for when you're working on metal, but when you're working on wood, you get little drips of oil that I've been wiping up with isopropyl alcohol, but as you can see, still leaving stains. Making me a little bit nervous about the paint finish, but hey, what are you going to do, right? So we got a little bit of a dilemma here, but I mean, no big deal. I don't have enough room through there to push this piece of wood all the way around the other way, so I got to put the wood in there the other way around. So all my settings that I had, which pretty much was just the in and out depth, I'm going to have to redo on this. And I guess I probably could just eyeball this one like I did the first one. Take the hinge out. I don't need the hinge in there. That's right. The hinge, putting the hinge in there was so I could key off of that parallel and put it this thing back in the same place every time. So forgot myself. Let me just take the hinge off, and we're going to do this all by eye here on setting the depth and left and right. And the first one came out fine. This one will come out fine too. So here's something I hadn't recorded yet. I don't think anyway. We're not in here level, even though we've got this wedged piece underneath there. We're too high on this side and too low on that side. So what I've been doing is putting like a little piece of cardboard here underneath one side to compensate. So I'm going to loosen this guy up now, put this on that side to raise up on that side, because we're about the thickness of this cardboard, and we're going to give another test cut. As you can see, I'm not up to the line, so we're just doing our little tests to get everything dialed in. So here you can see I got 4 sequential cuts, and this last one is pretty even, but you know, this wood isn't straight because it's hand planed. As we were getting the door jamb to fit, so we got a little bit of a wow in this thing. So what we're just doing is trying to do the best we can to match, so the hinge will lay in there flat. Oh gosh, last one. Well, it's in. Now for the tweaking. We're hitting on the left side, which there's a couple things going on there. I still haven't mortised the door, so we've got about a 1/16 of an inch more that the door's going to move over, and I've been holding off on that to make sure it really needed it. And the other thing is, and I'm not sure how this is going to play out, I mean, it's like right on the edge right now of fitting. This doesn't have screws in it yet in there. So, and up there, yeah, we got I know you can't see it, but we got sag going on. Take a look at the top. Well, I don't see sag at the top. It would be wider gap over here than here. So that's all right. So we're looking for quite a bit more there. All right, so let's talk about hinges. You can tweak how these hinges are sitting in their mortise. All right, so you know how the center of the pin is to the right of the door, right? So if you tilt just the leaf that's on this door this way, right, it'll in effect move the door that way, kind of like if it teetered on that edge. Same thing goes for the leaf on that side. What we're looking for is the opposite. We're looking for the top of the door to go that way. So we want to teeter the leaf that's on the hinge leaf that's on this side of the door this way, and that'll pull the door in. Actually, the more I'm looking at it, gap, it's a tiny bit tight on the very last 6 inches, but it's very consistent all the way up. I think what we're going to need to do, I think we're going to have to trim this guy or trim the door. So the other thing that's going on, which I hope this doesn't bite me here, is as this door, as this door is coming around, this inner edge is going to be closer to the door jamb than this one, as it's kind of evident right here, right? And then as it pulls in, they'll even out. So right now the door is at its widest point, if you will, because it's in there crooked. The hinge is slightly open, so the door is slightly pushed this way. So as you notice, when the door, first thing that happens when the door starts to move is the door moves away from that door jamb side. And that's because the hinge pin is away from the swing of the door. If the hinge pin was in the middle of the door, this wouldn't have that effect. It would just pivot right and stay in its same plane in and out, and left and right. So normally when doors are fitted in a home, there's a taper, about 2 degrees taper on the side of the door like this, So this side has more clearance than this side, which is something I haven't tried to do here because the way this angle is, it's really not conducive to, I mean, I guess it's possible that I could force this thing to go crooked on there, but I've just ignored that till now, until I see if I really need to do it, and I probably should. So I'm going to sit and ponder for a while, relax. I just shoved down some lunch, but all in all, it really looks good, right? Look at that door. Alright, so trying to figure out what's going on here and what's the correct thing to fix it. So you can see our top gap is very consistent. Might be a hair low on this side, but honestly I can't see it in there. It's not. We got a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch here, which is okay. It's closer to 3/16. I can live with that. I was just examining what's going on here, and as I was kind of anticipating, there's a twist. Probably not the door. I think the door is really straight. It's probably the shape of the bus. So if you look, we're touching here, and then as we go down to the bottom, we're about 1/2 of an inch twist, which is not a huge big deal for functionality, but for aesthetics, it's going to mess with my brain cell. So all this stuff here can be adjusted, albeit all the holes are a little bit of a challenge. This piece here, I didn't put any screws in it except for one screw at the top just to hold it in place, and at the bottom I've just got a nail in there to hold it from swinging around, exactly to compensate for what's going on here. But if I got to move that thing out 1/2 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch, what the result is going to be is this side won't line up down there, but it will at the top. So I got to think about how I'm going to want to deal with that. I guess, yeah, there's all kinds of alternatives of what I can do there, but nothing I can't overcome. The door feels great. It doesn't feel heavy at all. I mean, it's kind of heavy lugging it around. I need to weigh it and find out how much it really weighs just to satisfy my curiosity. But gosh, it really looks nice. So we're just about ready to put the mortise in this. And the mortise goes clean through the whole door because the aluminum edging, the hinge comes up to the aluminum edging on one side and goes through the aluminum edging on the other side. So what I've done is I've made this, I don't know what you want to call it, jig, fixture, sled, that, let me back up a little bit. I've measured from the edge of the router blade to the edge of the disc, and I get 1.7 inches. I mean 2.7 inches. And actually it was a hair less. And so I've cut this piece of wood to that dimension. So I put this here. I can sight the line that I scribed right there. What we want to do is pretty much leave that line, or if we take it away, we'll have a little bit of play, and that's what I'm looking for. So over here, we're just about going to leave the line, and over there, we're going to take it away. Okay. So what that's doing is, this is my gauge. It tells me if I put my router up here and I run the router with this as a fence, it's going to cut right along that line and that line. Then I can freehand it in the middle. And these two outer edges I'm not going to cut. They're going to help stabilize the whole shebang. Alright, so we're going to set the depth of that to 1/16 of an inch, which I have not done yet. And we're going to get some earplugs, and we're going to do this thing, man. So I made a cut. It's a little lighter than the 16th, so I'm going to give it another pass and readjust, give it another pass. But I wanted to show you my method. Is I tapped this with a hammer to make sure that I was flush here and here, and then I clamped it so this wouldn't move. And at the same time, I made sure I was my 2.7 inches away from my line. And I held the router up and plunged in, went up against this fence, and I made that straight line cut. I freehanded across the back side there, making sure I was beyond the edge and into my guide piece just a little bit. Then I came across back on the fence here on this side, and then freehanded across the front side. Then I just zigzagged back and forth using these two sides here to keep everything level and straight. Success! How about that? The little bit that I trimmed, the little angle that I put here, 4 degrees. So we're like 3/16 right there. And then as this one comes in, I'm hitting up there. And we're still about 3/16. Okay, so we're a little wide on this side. A little wider than I would have liked. That's okay, I can deal with it. As you come up here, still got that last like foot that it looks like it's tapered over. I mean, I've checked these things, they're both straight. It's just weird how that's doing that. So over here, we're narrow down here at the bottom. I could tweak this hinge. And we're a little bit wide in here. I can tweak that hinge. I could take about a 32nd of an inch from this gap by shimming that hinge. And then that's about what I need up there. I still would like to have a little bit more gap up there. But all in all, very happy. Oh, so yeah, see how this is flat and flush? Oh, that's what's hitting the freaking nail down there. But in order to get these to match, okay, the only way that I was able to do that was by shifting this piece. You can see how much gap I've got down there. This right here, and it tapers up to nothing. So I designed it to work this way. I didn't anticipate it would be that much. I'm a little disappointed. I don't like the way that looks. And this is permanently adhered to the bus. It'd take a nuclear bomb to get that thing off. So there's no trim in this to meet that, which would have been nice. But like I say, there's no way that just ain't coming off, that Gorilla Construction adhesive. So depending on how bad that bugs me, I could see if I have a piece of this and glue it onto the end and then cut that taper from nothing at the top to whatever that is, which that's not actually very hard to do. And then when you're inside the bus, you'll never know that the bottom of that piece of wood is wider than the top. Well, I guess you would. Kind of a bummer that we got that. So let's see, what are our options? What if we came in 3/8 of an inch at the top? Yeah, that's what we could do. It would mean repositioning our header piece, which is also removable. This guy, come in. Wait a minute, is that an option? Yeah, that's an option. Although it'll be visible. Or I could split the difference. See, right now, if I push that in, about 3/16 maybe. Maybe we can split it, the difference between the top and the bottom, so it won't be noticeable. But either way, it's so darn close to perfect. I'm just going to sit on it for a while because maybe I'll just leave it and tolerate that little twist. Now, if I'd have known, right, just like there's no way to know how much twist there is in your door jamb until you put the door in there. And the door, I didn't have the door to true up the jamb. So, you know, it's that chicken and egg kind of thing. But you know what? It's going to be great. So next we're going to, after we're done assembling this door, I think, yeah, we're really close to assembling this door for final assembly. We're going to put our door stops over here. There's going to be a trim piece of wood, and the seals are going to push up against this on both sides and the top. And the reason why they're not on there now is because I want to make sure I know where this door is going to sit, right, all the way around before I attach that piece. Yeah, gosh, look at that, man. It's just goes from a nice healthy gap down there to only a 1/16 of an inch at the top. So the only way I can see if fixing that easily is to move this over, because this is a little wide on this side. I could do that. So the easy way to do that is to put some shims underneath this hinge. So since we want, let's see, we want the door to go that way, right? So the fix is to put, let's see, how do you do that? Actually, I could dado that thing. I mean, mortise a little deeper on this one. That would fix that, except I gotta take the whole damn door apart and do it. But if I angle these slightly, it makes a really big difference. It's surprising how much that helps. So what I'd have to do is put a shim on this side of the hinge, right? And then it would allow the door to kind of move over a little bit. But I think maybe I'll work on dadoing something here a little bit more. That would be easier. I keep calling it dado, mortise.